That's it. Paris 2024, the sport is all over. We know the final medal table. We know this man, the chief executive, has probably had no sleep over the last two or 3 weeks. Andy, first, we know the numbers now.
Yeah.
65 medals, 7th in the medal table. We'll break it down. Well, you face, that's an odd one. We'll talk about the one, but your reflections on the podiums, the 65 medals.
Been unbelievable. I mean, every day of the games we've won a medal. That's never happened before, and they just keep coming. They kept coming, till this morning we won 2 more medals with Emma Finucane and Emily Campbell, both brilliant characters. And there's been so many moments, and the gold medals we can discuss, but the number of medals, the quantity of medals, the nature of the medals has just been incredible. From 18 different sports, 131 athletes, I think, have won medals out of our whole team of 327. Every member of the track cycling team that was selected won a medal. I mean, it's just been incredible moments across the whole games. And so I just want to celebrate that first and foremost. And I know that back home I've had more messages of congratulations than I've ever had in my life, because everyone has been embracing the Olympics and loved what's happened.
Well, Team GB's success, given its comparative size with China and the USA in terms of medals, it's the breadth of sports. How important was that? You always targeted that, didn't you?
More medals in more sports was one of our mantras, and to win in 18 sports and 2 new ones. The sport climbing one with Toby Roberts was one of my highlights of the games. It was the sport's brilliant. It's really compelling viewing. Also in kite foiling, we won the medal for the first time that's been in. So we keep getting better at these new things. We keep adding them on. But things like track cycling, like athletics, rowing, the aquatic sports, we've won lots of medals in those as well, which are the more traditional Olympic sports. So it's been a good mix, and athletes from all over the country. I've just had a friend of mine from Northern Ireland saying this has been the best ever Northern Ireland performance within Team GB, and that's really important as well, because it does bring all 4 corners of the country together.
Right, we mentioned golds. Yeah. There's no real rule of thumb, but the hope is, of the medals you successfully win, a third of them will be gold.
Yeah, that seems to have been the case in recent games.
But this one, not so, and 8 fewer than Tokyo. Any idea why yet?
No, I think it is one of those where we do need to go home and collectively look across the whole system and see, is there a theme across the whole system? We need to go sport by sport as well with ourselves, with UK sport and with the national governing bodies, and just see, is there a story behind each one that's explainable? Is it a theme across the whole sport that needs addressing, or is it something different than that? We'll find out, and we'll do the work on that, because I do think we were expecting a higher conversion rate, and I don't want to undermine the incredible moments, but equally we want to keep getting better. It doesn't make me feel happy to see Australia above us in the medal table. So we need to fight back, and that's what we've got to do for LA, because we've got that coming in 4 years, and that's going to be a massive and brilliant Olympic Games again.
My first question, we mentioned 7th in the medal table, and you did that.
I did do that.
But in terms of the medals won, it's the USA, China, then Team GB, yet you're 7th. And the countries that are above you, yes, they may have 1 or 2 more golds, but they're a long way off 65. So first things first, how do you feel? I think I know how you feel, but how can you explain 7th? But also, is it a fair reflection when you're trying to get above the Australias, the Frances?
I'd like to say, first of all, we'll be lobbying for the American view of the medal table. I was on the NBC website and saw us 3rd, and it felt really good to see us that, but I've supported the...
They go medals, all medals
won, and they've always gone medals won, but I've always supported the other system, so I can't be a turncoat. I think, first of all, I feel proud of 65 medals, the same number as London, more than the host nation, who've thrown so much at this, so we should feel good about that. Then we have to address the issue going forward of what was the story behind the gold medals, and we want to win more gold medals. I mean, that is important, not to undermine the other performances, but there were some reasons. The injury to Katie Archibald, which came a few weeks before the games in her garden. I mean, things like that explain some of the gap, not all of the gap, but we do need to go through and make sure we understand what is driving the gap.
Talking about the challenges there, you mentioned Katie Archibald there with that freak accident. Even before the game started, you lost probably somebody who was bolted on to get a goal, Charlotte Dujardin. Let's talk challenges. How much of a challenge was that? The games had even begun, and you had to deal with that.
Yeah, and I think one of the things throughout these games, it's not been easy. I think, we had Adam Peaty with COVID, we had another swimmer who had COVID, we've had Kate French withdrawing this morning from the modern pentathlon, our gold medalist from Tokyo with stomach illness. So we've had things like that going on in the background all the time. Some of our triathletes came into the venue not feeling great before they swam in you know, they were fine after they swam in the Seine. It must have killed everything, but they weren't so good when they arrived. So I feel like we've been having those challenges in the background the whole way, and yet we've come through and won 65 medals. So I actually feel like it's a significant achievement, because it may look like this is all easy. We've been doing it for many, many Olympics. It's not. It's a really challenging environment, and what I would say is the most competitive Olympic Games I've ever been involved in. It's the level of intense competition, you know, from Holland in the Netherlands in the cycling, from Australia across skateboarding and swimming and stuff. It's literally intense competition in every sport you're in, and I think we've just got to acknowledge that and then go on to the next wave and keep improving.
Andy, a couple of final questions. It's very easy for us here in Paris. Yes, we're trying to do our jobs, but you come in a bubble, and you see a British flag, and it's a celebratory. The UK at the moment, which I know you're well aware of, it's not been great with the riots happening back home. I suppose, how can you help, I suppose, with British success, with trying some positivity, and just maybe how aware were you, the coaches, backroom staff, maybe in the athletes, of what was going on back home? Yeah,
I mean, very aware, and one of the things that we pride ourselves on is that the Team GB brand pulls everyone together, you know, athletes, fans, partners, commercial partners, other stakeholders, all in this together, and people representing Team GB from every corner of the country, and that is, you know, from all different backgrounds, diverse backgrounds. We've got boxers, we've got equestrian athletes, we've got rowers, we've got taekwondo athletes. They're all from different backgrounds, they're all different people, and they do represent the country as a whole, and you know, our aim is to unify everyone behind this brand and make sure we find out the most positive aspects of our country. I think these athletes want to go back and be ambassadors in their own communities and help you know, kids get into sport and broaden the appeal of their sports. You know, Tommy Fleetwood obviously had a very emotional time, you know, did brilliantly to win a silver medal, but coming from Southport, it was clearly a tough moment when he arrived here, and he was very emotional. But again, he tried to turn that into a positive, and I think these athletes have probably got the best chance of anyone to go back and try and improve things, because they're such normal, ordinary people who are celebrated by their hometown communities, and I think that can help everyone. But it's sad to see what's been going on whilst we've been, you know, enjoying an amazing Olympic Games.
Just a quick last one, because you'll be out of France within the next 15 hours probably. It's all over, and you're gone. Security was the number one key issue, which we've been talking about for years.
When
you felt safe.
I felt incredibly safe. I mean, I think you will have seen around the Stade de France, the level of security has been...
Well, everywhere. It's hugely visible.
Yeah, hugely visible, and that does make you feel safe. It's not always pleasant, because you'd rather not see that, but it does mean we feel safe. We've got to get through tonight. We've got to get everyone back home, and then I'll breathe. At the moment, you know, we still take it as seriously as we took it on day one, and that's important. But the French have done a good job, and I think I've said all along, the level of communication from the French authorities to us has been incredible. So I think the French have done a brilliant job of organising these Olympic Games, security, but also the whole organisation behind it. So I think we should celebrate Paris 24 tonight, celebrate our performances, and look forward to LA, because that's going to be a big Games.
Yes, it will be. Andy, thank you as always for talking to us about a myriad of issues there. Andy Anson, the Chief Executive of the British Olympic Association. A happy, tired, but content man, I'd say. So thanks ever so much, Andy. Thank you.